What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a beat for Ckay, Tems, and Ayra Starr. I also had my friend Timi Dre record some guitar samples and some vocals in it, so you can get the feeling of how it's going to sound if somebody actually has to sing on it. So first things first, Ayra Starr, Ckay, Tems, they usually go for this mid, slow tempo kind of beats. They could start their beats around 80 BPM to about 110 BPM. And for these beats, I used 94 BPM. So the first thing you want to always consider is guitar sounds. You always want to use guitar samples, guitar loops, and stuff like that. Mostly acoustic guitars or electric guitars. So first of all, I had this guitar sample that I got from looperman.com. If you guys want to watch a longer version of this video, I streamed how I made the beats from scratch. So you can check my last video and you see how I made it and how I got the loop from looperman.com. So the guitar sounds like this. So I did a bit of reverb to give it some kind of ambience in the beats. So I used Valhalla Room and RC20 to give it that vintage feel. And I added some space there that's reverb on it. So without all the effects, it sounds like this. So with the reverb, I also messed around with the separation knob to give it some kind of width. So the next thing was the beatbox. I had this beatbox idea I had to give it some more human feeling. Because Ckay, Tems, and Ayra Starr, they like having this kind of emotional acoustic vibes in their beats. And a beatbox is going to always achieve that acoustic feeling. So it sounds like this. So I automated the volume from the beginning. In the beginning, it was loud, then became lower. So it's not clashing with other stuff. Because when you have a lot of stuff in the same frequency, one thing you can do is either pan them or you reduce the volume of one. So I had to compromise. I had to reduce the volume of this beatbox so it's not clashing with the main vocals. Then the next thing, I added this rim shots. And I layered it with this clavier sound. Then I had this percussion clap that I layered it with too. Then some congas. So one thing I do with my percussion a lot and my drums and my 808, I like to roll my my drums. I'd like to roll almost everything. Anywhere I see the chance to have a little pocket, I just put the roll there. So with the drums, let me play all the drums together. So far, so good. I see. So when I get some little pockets and some spaces, I just add a roll to make it more interesting. Then I added this shaker loop from Ransom Beats. I always like using the shaker loop. And I also layer the shaker loop with my own shakers. Then I added this percussion and shakers to layer the drums. So most of the stuff I played with my drum pad. And if you notice, it's a little bit off the grid. It just have a humanized feel to it. You might not hear it when everything is playing, but when I solo it, you can hear that it's off the grid. You can see it's a little bit off the grid. Everything is off the grid. And the next thing was this clap. I added this clap because everything was sounding kind of weak. So I needed something to make everything knock. I had this clap and this snare. Then the 808s. Like I said, I always like to roll my 808s. Then I added some risers and some crashes to have some transition effects. I had this crash going and this riser sweep. And I added some more percussion. Like I just kept layering it with percussion at different parts. I took out some percussion and I introduced some. So I added this Casey sound from Duru Malaya kit. So if you notice, it's also off the grid because I played with my drum pad, like I said. Then Timi Dre sent in some guitar samples. So he had this guitar sample that he sent me, the first one. Then he added this other one. This one had like an effect, but I chopped it up because I felt it was like too much. So I only used the last part of the other guitar he sent because it felt more like a transition effect. Here again, and because the guitar was clashing with the main vocals, so I didn't want anything clashing with it. Basically, that was it. Basically, what you want to use guitar samples, a lot of guitar samples, acoustic guitar samples, and just percussions, simple percussion. So let me play the vocals for you, then I'll show you how I mixed it.
Oh no. Here for the drama. Baby tell me say she's every drama, but me on the steady I be running from karma. I saw become myself, you can shoot ya. You don't stay away, I tell you shit. Timi Dre no come to play. Sometimes on the road highway, away to some place. I won't go far away. I know fish I like it. I know what goes go big. Away, away, away. That's like go far away. I know fish I like it. I know what goes go big. That's like I go away, away.
So that was. So let me play the vocals for you, soloed vocals. The vocal sounds like this.
Yeah, 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 Oh no, yeah.
So the raw vocals sounds like this.
Yeah, yeah, oh, oh no, yeah. Oh,
So the main vocals doesn't sound that bad because I think you might probably have added some effects before you sent it in. But I wanted to mix it some more. So when I'm mixing my vocals, the first thing I do is I try and clean it up a bit. So the first thing I did was to add a noise suppressor. The noise suppressor gets rid of all the noise and all the background sound. So you hear the vocals without the noise suppressor.
yeah, yeah, oh,
And hear the mic noise. You can hear a bit of the guitar sample from his headphones. So put this on and I just increase it a little bit because you don't want to take it up all the way. Just take it up a little bit to get rid of all that mic noise.
yeah, yeah, oh,
And the next thing is to compress the vocals. I use Waves CLA. I reduce the peak of the vocals. I use this peak reduction, reduce the peaks. Then I might add a bit of gain or I use another compressor to increase the volume again.
yeah, yeah, oh, oh no, yeah.
Then I added autotune to the vocals. The key is in G major, so I set the autotune to G major.
Yeah, yeah, oh, oh no, yeah.
Then I added some EQ to cut out the lows and boost some parts of the vocals.
Yeah, yeah.
So one trick with getting your vocals to sound very, very professional is to add a bit of high end and take a bit of the low end out. Most of the time you cut the low end to taste. And another trick I can tell you guys is if you mix on headphones can be very, very deceiving. You can cut a lot of the lows on the headphones and it's going to sound thin when you listen on speakers. So what I do sometimes is I use my headphones to clean up the mix of the vocals. Then I use my speakers to cut out the lows because you can cut out the lows on your headphones, like I said. Then when you hear them on speakers, your vocals will sound very, very, very thin. So be careful with cutting out the lows on vocals. It depends on how the vocal is. I can cut to about 200. I can cut about 50. Depends on the vocal on the mic that was used. So I think you use a Rode mic, and those Rode mics are kind of thin. Even if I cut out a lot of lows, it's still gonna sound kind of thin. So this is how it sounds with the EQ.
Yeah, yeah, oh,
Without the EQ,
yeah, yeah, oh,
I boosted some of the mids and I boosted a little bit of the highs here in my first EQ. My second compressor, I just reduced this comp to add some more volume. This compressor is called Ivrox. When you use the comp, it kind of increases the volume of the vocals. Then this is how it sounds
yeah, yeah, oh,
without it.
yeah, yeah,
You can see it increases the volume of the vocals.
yeah, yeah.
So it kind of was too loud, so I still have to reduce the volume a bit. Then I added another EQ.
Yeah, yeah, oh,
So I usually have two EQs most of the time. The first EQ is to do like basic cleaning of the vocals. And the second EQ is more like to like shape the vocals the way I want it. So if you notice, I cut a lot of the lows on here and I boosted the highs a lot. You can see I boosted the highs about 7 dB, 6 dB here. I boosted the highs a lot. I cut out some frequencies in 4K. And my last EQ, I boosted some frequencies in 4K. So it is just more like to shape the vocals, not anything crazy. And I added some reverb.
yeah, yeah, oh,
Yeah, I added more reverb.
yeah, yeah, oh,
Then I added some delay.
yeah, yeah, oh,
Some more reverb again.
yeah, yeah,
And some more delay. So that was basically it for the vocals.
yeah, oh,
Then the backup vocals, I did almost the same thing, but I didn't really do too much on the backup vocals. So the backup vocals sounds like this.
Far away, shall I?
So I did EQ, I did the tune and EQ. So I boosted the highs a lot, and I sent a lot of reverb to these vocals, like a lot of reverb. You can see it, Valhalla Room sent a lot of reverb to it. Then the second, then I panned it to the left and I panned it down to the right. So the second one,
Far away, shall I?
second one I panned the second one to the right. I added a bit of same EQ, auto tune. Then for the second vocals, I added a bit of little water boy on it to have some kind of weird effects.
Far away, shall I?
Because his vocals sound so high. So I just needed some lows on the vocals.
Far away, shall I? I go far away, I know fish shall I know one cause go.
So basically that was how I mixed the vocals. Then the mixing of the drums, basically I just cut out the lows, cut out the body with SPL Transient Designer. That was what I did most for all the drums. The claps, cut the lows, reduce the body with SPL Transient Designer. Some people like using Smack Attack or FL Studio Transients processor. Anyone is fine. Well, because when you cut out the bodies from your drum, it kind of sounds louder. Then for the drum processing, I just added Camel Crusher. If you've not watched my tutorial on how to make your drums knock, go and watch that video. I used Camel Crusher to make the drums bang a little bit more. Then I added Bus Compressor. So basically, all you just do is set your attack to very, very, very slow. That's 30 milliseconds. Then you release it very fast. Then mess around with your threshold and your makeup again. Just mess around with those two. Then set your ratio to about 2. If you set it to 4, it's going to compress a lot. So just set it to 2 because you don't want to compress too much. And then I just added another EQ to cut out all the lows. Not all the lows, but most of the lows. And that was it for the mixing of the drums. And the guitars, I just added a lot of reverb, RC20 on the main guitar, EQ, cut the lows, boosted a bit of the highs, and a lot of reverb. I sent it to this Valhalla Room reverb. All the guitars were sent to the same reverb Valhalla Room. And that was it, guys. Then for the mastering, I just have Farfeta Pro L. On the EQ, I cut a bit of the lows. At least I cut like 40 hertz or 20 hertz. Anyway, from 20 to 40 hertz, I cut it off. Then I added soft clipper again, just to make sure it's not passing 0 dB. And that was it, guys. So catch you on the next tutorial. See you next week, Monday. And let me know what you want to see next. If you want to see more of mixing tutorials, let me know. If you want to see more of, just drop your comments. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see next. I would really appreciate your comments. Catch you guys on the next one.